I'm Miracle Anti-Mage. I'm doing fairly well. I'm second in net worth, just casually farming, shipping on my Battle Fury. And because I'm afraid of getting ganked, I'm actually walking over to this camp. I'm not blinking, just being efficient, farming this camp, just chilling. And then suddenly, oh no! Spell shield, blink, no! Too late! And I'm stomped forever, and he is dead. We are going to be watching Game 2 between OG and Nigma from ESL One LA. Game 2 of the group stage match. And once again, OG are playing with two stand-ins. They're playing with 33 and their old offlaner Seb. And they've picked this Chen in the first phase. They also have this Gyro. Sort of a carry that's been trending up again. They have Earthshaker and Pugner. Pugner, one of the strongest mid laners in the current patch. He's been buffed a lot with the very low cooldown mana drain, but he's been counterpicked here by Anti-Mage, and you don't really want to pick a core Pugner against an Anti-Mage. So instead, what OG are going to do is they're going to pick a Legion Commander. Legion Commander, a very strong hero against Anti-Mage as well as against Batrider. Lane's really well against Batrider because you always dispel your sticky napalm stacks, and Anti-Mage obviously just gets caught out by the duel. And they're actually going to put this first pick Chen on 33. Yes, it's going to be a core Chen, position 3 Chen, and they're going to actually put this Earthshaker on No-Tail, position 5 Earthshaker, and position 4 Pugner. So, very flexible draft, very tricky things that OG are doing here, and we're going to see how this works out for them. So, here at the start of the game, they're just going to go to the bottom lane as three people just scouring it out, concealing their lane matchups. They possibly want to see some scouting information, and what they want to have is just have this lane where they give this Chen the harder lane and then have the easier lane for Gyro, because it's really important to get this Gyrocopter online, and if Chen has a tougher lane, that's not as bad. And of course they want to have in the mid lane Seb against this Batrider. So what's the idea behind core Chen? The idea is you take Holy Persuasion level 1, you take over a creep, and these range creeps, they have piercing damage, they do 50% bonus damage against creeps and 50% reduced damage against heroes, so they're really good for last sitting and denying. And with this range creep with 23 damage plus 8, and also factoring in the bonus damage against creeps, it does almost as much damage as a range level 1 hero, so you're basically like last hitting with two heroes here. So it's really easy to get last hits, but of course you're not that strong at fighting right at the start. So the three moving a bit too far forward here. It's being gone on here by actually three heroes. Kuroki also coming in. He's being slowed down. He eats a tree very importantly to escape faster, but it's not quite enough. And very far also not quite enough. And he is actually going to be killed here. Miracle gets the first blood, and that's of course a bad start. But they also had to commit this trial at the start for this. So on the other side of the map, Gyrocopter is having a really nice game against this Centaur, and hasn't a lead in this lane. And Centaur is actually also going to die here. So kills being traded, but of course it's better for Nigma because they get the first blood. But if you look at the net worth, actually OG are even doing better. So 33 scouts out this camp, sees it's been blocked by this ward here. He sees there's no hero actually nearby, no hero actually blocking it, so it has to be a ward. So that's something they want to de-ward as soon as possible. And now with this lane pushed so far forward, you can't really contest this. You just have to kind of sit back and be a bit passive. But now that he's seen these heroes go on Saxa is actually pulling this wave here. If you're having a really tough time, either your offlane or position 4 should be pulling the wave, and that's what Saxa is doing. Pugner is quite good at this because he's very fast, he's not easy to catch, and he actually has a decent amount of armor, even though he's an int hero. So he pulls his wave here behind the tower, and now this is very safe to farm, and now there's nothing that Nigma can do to contest this. Another thing you can do if you're behind in the lane is do this pull, hit these creeps at around 346 and pull them up here, and that's an easy camp for Chen to clear up, and it's just disrupts the lane equilibrium, and meanwhile success here nearby to soak up the experience from this lane. And of course with this ghost creep you can easily get those last hits and denies on those creeps. And you don't really care about clearing this wave up perfectly, you just want to get it whatever farm and experience you can. It's not being gone on again. You should be attacking the anti-mage with that ghost. Now the ghost is kind of out of position. Problem with the ghost is it has no spells but actually has mana, so it takes a lot of damage from anti-mage. But ghost survives, and now he's just going to leave it sort of in the back, leave it to regenerate, because it has quite a bit of regen with that headdress aura and the divine favor aura. So 4.8 regen per second. It's going to be in good shape in a couple of minutes. And this is a creep that's quite valuable, so you want to keep it alive. You don't just want to deny this or just lose it. So now he's level 3. He has 2 good piercing damage creeps, and this means he can actually do these camps really well. And meanwhile, let's just leave this Pugner in this lane to soak some experience. If you're one of these heroes that can jungle well and you're losing your lane, oftentimes it's best to just leave the lane, go jungle, and let your support soak some experience. And the thing about Pugner is that he's not that strong at early levels. Like, he's fast and he has decent right click and so on, but mostly you're just waiting for this life drain. It's very important to get to level 6 with Pugner, so letting this support Pugner have the lane for a while is really strong move. So that's what they're going to do here. And meanwhile, Chen is just farming some jungle camps, which goes quite fast with all these basic damage creeps. Notice how he's tanking with the range creep, who's high HP, and he's doing some stacking here because it's almost 6 minutes. Gonna stack this camp, and this camp was cleared, so very efficient farming here. And you just kite with those ranged units, you can easily clear this stack without taking too much damage. You're just tanking with all of his units, tanking a little bit with this hero, a little bit with those 2 creeps, and this way you can do this camp without really taking much damage. Also very importantly when you're dealing with this Hellbear Smasher is you don't want to have 3 units nearby so it doesn't stomp. And then when the camp's almost cleared, he aggro's his next camp, a very efficient farm here coming out of 33. While all this farming is going on, there's a go in the bot lane. This Earthshaker Gyrocopter is actually quite a strong lane because you just can lock people in, and then you have this Rocket Barrage doing so much damage. The Centaur is almost dead. They're trying to chase him. They force a rotation from the IO. Centaur gets healed up by Wind Survival, but also locked in place and actually killed. And so I also want to try to go for this IO. Note cell is quite low, he has to hide here. So GH salving up here, trying to go for this kill, but actually the Rocket Brush does so much damage. This is one of the strongest fighting spells in the early game, so much damage. So they get this double kill, they force the rotation, and they don't lose anything. Meanwhile in mid lane, Seb is really winning his lane. Legion Commander is an excellent matchup against Batrider. Like, look at how much damage he has. He has almost 100 damage, Batrider has 60 damage. Like, you can't really last hit against the Legion, and yes, you can use all your sticky napalms, but then you can just purge it off with press the attack, and you just give a lot of stick charges this way. So Legion, excellent counter here in lane against this Batrider. Pugner was just killed in this lane by Anti-Mage, so Chen is returning to this lane. He can easily farm now that this Anti-Mage is too low to contest you. So always, of course, lane farm better than jungle farm if you can take it safely. So that's what he's going to do here. And he's level 5 now, almost level 6. He has a reasonable group of creeps. This Ogre Frost Mage is quite useful here. He's going on Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage can't really fight back. He's being slowed up. He has to blink, but he actually gets stomped before. But he gets out. But Seb is coming in. He's invis, and Anti-Mage doesn't realize this. So he's just staying here, trying to go for the deny, and that's a nice duel. And it's dead Anti-Mage. And Legion Commander gets her first duel damage. And now is most of the way towards a Blink Dagger, which of course is very dangerous for the Anti-Mage. 33 just pushing this tower, but he knows that this is risky. He knows Batra is no longer in the mid lane, so he gets gone on. He just TPs out. Anti-Mage is not quite in time for his mana void, so he can just TP out. Unfortunately losing some of the creeps, but it's important to just keep microing these creeps, keep running them in different directions, and so this ghost actually survives, and they get the center conqueror, but the range creep and the ghost survive, so it's very important to keep these some of your creeps alive, because that just means it's going to be much faster to rebuild your army once you respawn, or once you get back into the jungle, because you didn't actually die, just TP'd out. So he's taking over this Wildwing Ripper, also another good creep. But not what you really want. What you really want is those centaurs, and he's of course gone for Hammer of Dominator. This is the standard item you go for on Core Chen. Dominator is an extremely strong item if you get it early. It synergizes quite well with all these other creeps you have. It gives all the other creeps an extra damage aura, meaning you just do so much right-click DPS in the early game. And the creep you really want with this Dominator is a Centaur. It gives another Centaur here. A Centaur with that extra movement speed you get from Dominator is very, very strong. It's just you can just run up to people and stomp them in the early game. Against Anti-Mage, of course, you're not quite fast enough, but against most heroes you can just run up to them and just stomp them. And this stage of the game, this range creep lost its luster, so you want to get rid of it. The way you do this is either just have a tank a creep camp, or you just run into a tower, into Roshan, just have it die, and now he's waiting for the Center Tormentor, and he's going to take it over now. Chen is just pushing in the mid lane here, but suddenly a Wild Bat Rider appears, and yeah, these creeps have to run. They have to run. Some of them have to run up here, and some of them down there, but he's a bit slow on splitting the creeps, so he's actually going to lose everything here, except for this dominated Centaur. So that's a bit unfortunate, but at least he gets out alive. The second item he's going to go for after his Dominator is a drum, and this is slightly unusual. More commonly you would see a mech as a follow-up, but this is the slightly more greedy version. Just an item that gives you this nice attack speed aura, which synergizes really well with the damage you get from Holy Persuasion and the bonus damage you get from Dominator. So you have all that damage. You will also want some attack speed, so the drum is quite nice, and it's also an item that synergizes really well with just the tempo his team want to put on. They want to end this game early. They don't want this Anti-Mage to get farmed, and they play very aggressively, and drum is excellent for that. And so like these charges, they run out eventually, and then the drum becomes a lot less useful. But in that early game phase where you still have these charges, this is pretty much the phase where your creeps are still strong. Afterwards, your creeps kind of fall off a little bit, your creeps become more support players, you're more looking for the aura creeps, for utility creeps, but at this stage of the game, your creeps are still very strong in direct fighting, so having these drum charges to give them extra movement speed and attack speed is very, very strong. And of course, drum is also an item that helps you farm because of that attack speed aura. You might be looking at this quarter and think to yourself, well, why don't they just do this as a support Chen? Couldn't you just do the same thing with a support Chen? Like, you still, okay, you wouldn't have all that many items, but you would still have this nice creep army. Couldn't you do that as a support? And yes, you can. The problem is just, by the time you actually get to level 7, by the time you actually get your full creep army, the time for your creeps to really shine is almost past. The timing where your creeps are strong and actually fighting is just very narrow with a support Chen. But with a core Chen, you just get everything much earlier, and you just have much more of a timing. There's a fight going on in the mid lane, and very nicely here, Chen actually splitting up his creeps. He wants to take the safer route with his hero, but the more dangerous with his creeps, they can cut off the enemy heroes, catch his Bat Rider, and that is a nice kill. And unfortunately, they also lost the Earthshaker, but they get these 2 kills, 2 core kills actually, just for a position 5. So that's a really good trade. Also, the IO is going to come in here, and it's going to get dueled here. No chance for the IO to escape. So they also take this tier 1 tower. OG in full control of this game. And here's that scene from the intro coming up, at this time, of course, from the Dire perspective. They see this anti-mage. They see he's farming this wave, and he's walking towards this camp. They know he's at this camp. He has to be at this camp. So he's walking around here with the center from the other side, and now he's approaching him. And this way, Miracle has no time to react, and they easily get this kill. Miracle has Blink up. He had everything up, but by walking around here from this other side, there's just no way he could react fast enough, and that is a very nice kill here from 33. Now they're pushing in this tier 2 tower. Of course, they're so strong they can't really be contested, and Chen is going for a pipe as a third item. Pipe is very strong in this game. There's so much magic damage on the enemy team, and you really want this pipe to be able to protect your creeps, and it's actually does a better job of protecting your creeps than would a mech, and it's only slightly more expensive. In the C patch that just came out, the pipe was nerfed a little bit, 200 gold more in terms of cost, but it's still a very strong item. It's still definitely worth buying on most teams in most games. So trying to push high ground here, and Chen actually gets Winter's Cursed. That's a bit unfortunate, but his creep's still alive, and the enemy team had to go quite deep for this. And now Legion Commander is trying to clean up here. Duel gets denied, but this IO is going to have to come back here in a couple of seconds, and they just keep wailing on these racks. And as Chen, you just try to do the best you can with the creeps you have left, but yeah, he still has only this with one centaur left, and this actually does reasonable amount of right-click damage against buildings. That's normal damage, so it does more damage against buildings than heroes do. So they get these Raxes. It's only 17 minutes into the game, and they just get out of here without taking any real losses. So here first he's prepping this wave for his team, pushing in this this wave, and then in this downtime he wants to sort of look around what creeps there are. He wants to replenish his creep army, and this is Kobold form, and actually I think that's honestly a creep I would take. The move speed aura is actually quite useful. 12% move speed, that's nothing to sneeze at. Anti-Mage actually coming in here trying to contest him, but yeah, they delete this Pugner, but they also lose their Winter Wyvern, and the Bat Rider is also going to be killed. So a 2-for-1 exchange here for OG, and they got a core out of this and not losing support. And now with 2 people dead, and most importantly Winter's Curse on cooldown, they can go into this Roshan pit and go Roshan. There's nothing they can do to contest. This Anti-Mage is not quite ready to fight yet. He needs like a Manta and then another item before he can really fight on Anti-Mage. So they just have another like 5 to 10 minutes where this Anti-Mage just doesn't really contribute anything except split pushing. So they can go here. The mid lane is pushed already, whereas the top lane has been pushed in by the Anti-Mage, so they go for this mid tower. And 33's creep army is not the best here, but you just want to play high tempo Dota right now. You just want to take whatever creeps you can and just push with your team, because it's important not to lose time. Speaking of not losing time, he's shipped himself out 3 mangoes and a clarity. This is the kind of play you want to make if you want to push. It's so infuriating often these lower level games where people just like they go back because they want to regen mana or something when a team wants to push. Don't do that. You have your courier for a reason. Get those mangoes, get those clarities, and you can see it's almost back to full mana. If you had just gone back to base because you wanted regen, all the momentum would stall, and it would just give this Anti-Mage so much more time to farm. Let's just keep up the pressure. He now has a reasonable creep army. These Dark Claw Summoners are not the greatest. They're mostly good for setting up stuns for your Centaur Conquerors and claps for your Hellbear Smashers. But they're okay to have. Having 2 of them is not ideal, but you just have to take whatever creeps you can. It's more important to have just 5 creeps, any old 5 creeps, than not to have creeps, because creeps, even if they're not the best creeps, they still contribute a lot to your fight. And actually finds a Alpha Wolf here. He wants to have this wolf, so he takes this over one of these Dark Claw Summoners. Very nice choice here. This wolf gives so much bonus damage, 30% bonus damage. This is very, very strong. The best kind of creep you can have at this stage of the game. And it's just contribute so much to a high ground push. And you want to be very careful with these pushes. As long as the enemy heroes are not nearby, he's going to come in with these creeps. Then the fortification gets used. He runs back to keep the creeps alive. And now he's going to come in here carefully. And once the enemy engages here, you want to pull back those creeps a little bit. You don't want these creeps to just die to AoE damage. He's positioning one of the centaurs here at the front to be able to stomp if enemy comes nearby. And just to create some separation between his creeps. Tried to go for this kill on battery, it doesn't quite work. So ultimate gets used. And while his team is fighting, he's just going for the objectives. This is your job as Chen. You don't want to dive in here. You hit those buildings, you do a lot more building damage than the rest of your team. Except, I guess, for this small gyrocopter with his aghanims, which is quite good against buildings. So they can just take down these buildings, and they have mega creeps here. And by the way, GC said going for Desolator, don't do this near pubs. Almost always a bad idea to do Desolator on Legion, but just here for the building damage, and because these are having such a dominant game, he's going for Desolator over something like a Blade Mail. So this has been game 2 between OG and Nigma. OG stomping Nigma here, despite having 2 stand-ins, and Core Chen, of course, a very strong possibility. They first picked that Chen, obviously. Nigma thought it was probably going to be a no-tail Chen, no-tail. At least back at TI, he was the best Chen player in the world. Hadn't really seen him play a lot of Chen recently, but obviously he's still going to be a good Chen player. But they switched it up, went for the 33, position 3 Chen, and easily dominated the game in this way. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more content on Chen and various other micro heroes. And all is willing, I'll see you next time.